So I was thinking about something this morning. I was thinking about coming from a low income environment and how it kind of correlates to saying that you got to be 5 times better. Reason why I say this is because not only, and I come from you know what, I could come just from any perspective, but I come from an African American perspective first. Is that, we are told that we have to be 5 times better, in the professional arena in order to be able to make it. My philosophy on that is the reason why we have to be 5 times better is because we have at least 4 other co-workers that are probably proactively working against us. That's one. And then 2, we got to be 5 times better because we got to be able to get out of our own environment. Our own environment works against us. When you want to transition, when you want to try to transform yourself, my mother asked me one time, she said, why did you choose the friends that you chose? She asked me, why is it that you made the decisions that you made? You could have chose to hang around different people. I said, Mama, you're totally out of touch. You know what I mean? Because I only knew 3 people ever in my whole life, man. Where I'm from, and I'm talking about that's within like maybe a 7 to 8 year span of before me in high school and after me. I only know 3 people. You know what I mean? That went on to do anything that. So when you grow up in an environment that is full of individuals, not 1 or 2, full of individuals that have accepted and perpetuate counterproductive activities, no matter what they may be. And what I mean by that is, of course, you have the illicit activities, but then outside of the illicit activities, you have an extra layer of society upon which they are totally dependent on just what they know. And so when you start to broaden your horizons, that you will have people in your immediate environment that are close to you that will tear you down simply because they don't understand what you're doing. It is outside of the world that they know. And so then when people say, well, you need to be around people who will foster these type of environments that you can be productive in, that's a good sell in a fairy tale world. When you come from a low income environment, the cognizance level, the quote unquote intelligence level, the thinking level is diminished because they are worried about meeting their basic needs. If you are tired from doing all that you have to do to work 1,000,000 hours when minimum wage doesn't cover anything, and you're still behind the ball, you don't have time to think of conceptual ideas. You don't have the time to think about bridging the gap. Your main concern, honestly and truly, is surviving. So when you have transferred your mode of thinking from surviving to how do I live, well, you will face a backlash unless you go through the very particular system that is set up to oppress you. So you go right back from the low income environment that they are working against you because they just don't understand. They don't understand, why aren't you doing something that is bringing in some money right this second? Immediate gratification. That's what low income environments are about, immediate gratification. If it's not immediate gratification, then it doesn't make sense to them. to us. You know, if it don't make dollars, it don't make sense, right? Well, sometimes you can put in work and effort in something, and that dollar may not come to you right away. So within the meantime, if you're doing whatever you're doing, those individuals, which, like I said, it's not as easy as what they say. Oh, well, you just need to surround yourself with other people. How the fuck am I going to do that? How am I going to do that? Like I said, when dude, I only know 3 people, and shit, those 3 people damn near feel like they're better than everybody else. So how is it that, you know what I'm saying, you able to do that? So you have to go outside of your environment. You have to venture out into a world where you can only hope and pray that someone takes a liking to you enough to the point to where they'll help to mentor you a little bit. And then even in the mentoring you, that you will lose a part of yourself, because now you have to essentially do a quantum leap. You have to go from a world that you knew your whole life into a world that you don't know a lot about. And that world is going to judge you as if you should know all the do's and don'ts. You should know how to do A, B, and C. And really, it's not built on lifting you up, but tearing you down, just like gravity, keeping you down. So, you know, I just threw that out there because it was just interesting to me That's all. That, you know, when you come from a low income environment where your mama, your daddy, your aunties, your family members, your cousins, your family, your friends, all of them think the same way. They're thinking on one accord, man. And yes, I know you got to venture out. You got to try to do this. You got to try to meet new people. You got to do A, B, and C. But all of that these is cookie cutter solutions, man. These cookie cutter solutions, life is more dynamic than that. And it becomes more dynamic as we go on into this space age of technology. You know, and man, it's like what T.D. Jakes said, man. The women, they're trying to bind you. The men, they're trying to kill us. They're trying to kill us. And doing a very successful job of it. Killing our babies every day. Over a cell phone. Over a cell phone. And we justify it. We accept it. We accept it. Because we're dependent. We look at them as an IV. We can't think for ourselves. We don't know right from wrong. We let them play that game. We won't help each other. We won't stand up for each other. Why? Because everything that we have comes from our oppressor. And I'm kind of like Pac when I say that. When I say that, man, you know what, I'm going to keep on talking, man, and I'm going to keep on saying what I say, and I'm going to call it how it is, because that's how it is. You can't tell me that, man. Look, I'm going to say this, and I'm going to be clear about this for these people who say slavery is over. We never did anything. We don't do anything. It's your fault why you act this way. It's your fault why you do this. You guys do this to you. Hey, man, check this out, man. If you throw a rock in a pond, it causes a ripple. So don't say you don't got nothing to do with it. If you throw a rock in a pond, it causes a ripple. When you create laws, it causes ripples. You throwing a rock with a law, and it caused a ripple. And then when it comes down to the individuals in the lower segments of society, you blame them for it. You blame them for what you have enacted. You blame them for what you have decided that was in their best interest. I just heard on the Ricky Smiley show the other day how many times the Democrats just blatantly ignored our interest. The politicians, the people that we wanted in office, they blatantly ignored it because they know we don't have anyone else to go to, because they know that we will not depend on anyone else. We'll fight each other. But the only thing that we will do is shut up and be quiet and listen to them. I don't say this to fuel rage or anger. I don't say this to be divisive, because shit, if you look out into the world, it is already full of divisiveness. If anything, what I am doing is I'm shedding light on the divisiveness, on the things that are the causes of the effects that we talk about and we go in circles about all day long, and they play this gray, this game of 50 Shades of Gray. We have people who will dictate to us what it is that we need to do in order to be able to get out of a situation based off of a minority, not the majority. So human nature would dictate, right? Or the cognizance, or our logic or intelligence, or shit. The scientific method would dictate to us that the majority psychologically is what you should be paying attention to, not the minority. You don't base the majority off the minority and say, well, these people was able to make it out, so shit, fuck y'all. Beautiful mind, man. Calculus, there are alternative, there are alternative possibilities to any problem. So just because one or two work out, don't make that a fucking cookie cutter and say that it just works for everybody, because it doesn't. And you know that. And that's why you're able to play this game. That's how you're able to maneuver around it and to change it and to be able to dictate it. Listen here. You make the rules. You break the rules and you change the rules whenever you feel like it. Let me reverse that. You make the rules. You change the rules in order so that you can break the rules that you initially made. And with that type of power, you'll always have us running around in that hamster wheel. And then us, coming from that low income environment, I was talking to my guy, and he said the realest thing that he ever said or heard was from a white boy. And the white boy came into the barbershop, and he said the difference between black men and white men is that white men had a network. They had their fathers, they had their brothers, they had their uncles, they had their grandfathers to show them. The majority, not the minority. See, that's what I mean. On one hand, y'all able to count y'all majority or y'all majority and to discredit your minority. But it's the opposite end on us. You use our minority to discredit our majority. It's a cold game. But he said that, they had their grandfathers, their fathers, their uncles to show them ways. They had networks, they had friends, they had business partners. We don't have that. All we have is individuals who went to work for someone. And the only thing that we can do is to be able to have that person to say, hey, can you give, or can you possibly assist with a person having a job. But a job is not a career, and a career is not being an entrepreneur. And entrepreneurship is the beginning of freedom. It's a sense of it. We don't own anything. We don't have anything, and you have kept it that way. And if anybody with any sense or any integrity at all whatsoever, you can look through the timeline of the American history. We can count it back from the Civil War, and we can see how you have enacted laws over and over and over again that only play out in your interest. If you throw if you throw a rock in a pond, it will cause ripples.